Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the FTW Over the Limit pay-per-view special coming to you live on May 19th, 2012. This is the FTW podcast, Wrestling World Most Laughable Glory. I am Harrison, and with me as always is J to the Rizzo, Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Yeah, I didn't find Kevin. He's still out there somewhere.
Well, I heard he's waiting for Tiger's World Series tickets, so he's going to be waiting a very, very long time. Rob, say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Scott from the Lethal Injection podcast is on with us. Say hello, Scott.
Error 37.
And we got Mike from pwtorch.com. Say hello, Mike.
Error 3003.
Damn it,
All right,
guys.
Boogie fans.
And we got Garment Man of the Boards. On today's show, we have the least anticipated pay-per-view of the year to talk about. Mike and Scott promised not to talk about Diablo 3. Former WWE writer... Oh, great. Former WWE writer on Twitter tossed a bunch of names into a blender and suggested it as a storyline. All this and not really much more, to be honest. Coming right up. If you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show, as well as upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, texting, emails, all kinds of stuff. Bringing in your comments. It's going to be a blast. You can join the live chat at FTWpodcast.com/live, and you can also email us questions at FTWpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag FTWLive. Here it is, tomorrow, WWE Over the Limit, and if the hate is out there and any indication, nope, the only people that are going to buy this thing are bars, basically. Right now, we got 5 confirmed matches for the card, well, 6 confirmed matches for the card, if you want to include the YouTube pre-show. A few things that we're expecting to come up, but we're basically going to dive right in. The first thing I want to kick out to the crowd is the YouTube pre-show has Zack Ryder versus Kane. Is this the end of these guys' feud? Because let's be honest, the last time these two met was at the previous pay-per-view. Zack Ryder hit Kane no-sold it, and then knocked Ryder on his ass, and then that was the end of it. So is this sputtering out, or are they trying to renew this?
You know, I'm not even sure if they know that they were feuding at the beginning of the year with the way that WWE just starts and stops storylines. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pick these two names out of like a bingo hopper or something and said, let's have these guys fight on the pre-show.
Actually, Mike, it was the old Royal Rumble bubble randomizer thing. You know, the big wheel they spin with the container.
Well, they updated it once Eric Bischoff took over WCW and started booking Nitro cards.
Yeah.
They needed a bigger hopper.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's pretty much the same hopper, you know.
But I mean, Zack Ryder versus Kane. I mean, yeah, it was great when it was running, but yeah, it seemed like they just dropped it, and now. So, Mike, you're just under the contention that they're like, yeah, let's throw these guys together, and they're like, hey, wait, didn't we have these two in a storyline? Oh, really? Oh, that's nice.
Huh, funny how that worked out.
It's like when you find out. It's like when you find out that there's a new Subway that opened in your town that you didn't know about, but had been there for a while, and then you feel like an idiot because you drove way out of the way to go get Subway.
Yes.
I can't really think of a time where this feud actually had legs on it. I mean, outside of, Kane slamming him through the stage, I mean, it's always been kind of like the substitute for Cena versus Kane. It was never really on its own legs. So I can imagine that WWE is just kind of like, shit, we need something for the pre-show. Well, what's Ryder and Kane doing? Just throw them in there. We just need something.
If this match ends in a DQ with Ryder winning, I can see them pushing this one to the next pay-per-view where Ryder will go over Kane. Only if they really want to push Ryder. That's the only way this is going to have any... Other than that, this is the blow-off.
Yeah, the chat's saying since the whole reason they were feuding in the first place was to torment Cena, and since Cena versus Kane is over, there's no reason to keep this going. But one question to ask is, Zack Ryder is the YouTube darling of the WWE. They're doing this match on YouTube. Do you think they're trying to do that, trying to capture those internet... Maybe, I don't want to say internet wrestling community, but like, big fans of Zack Ryder that really seem to love him. They're trying to like push people to their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think Vince McMahon looked and said, well, let's get that balding, orange-haired kid. He does well on the internet. We'll throw him on the pre-show. That's a horrible Vince McMahon impression, but you get the idea. Not the worst I've heard. But I think that's a very good possibility why they chose this match. And Kane had nothing to do after being on the last 4 pay-per-views or so, and pretty high profile matches.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you got to think is that, I mean, it's easy to dismiss this as a throwaway, like, oh, well, they forgot about their storyline and everything. But WWE has really been pushing for YouTube. I mean, this is the second pay-per-view that's had a YouTube pre-show match type of thing. Although I find it strange that they do it on YouTube. I mean, it just seems weird that they wouldn't stream it on the pay-per-view pre-show, but I guess if you're trying to drive YouTube views and see how that affects things, you don't really want to do that. I don't know. It's like that weird transition area where you can see the WWE is pushing towards the internet, and this is obviously a big step towards it. Do you guys see like the possibility of maybe we got one match now? Do you see maybe two matches in the future? Possibly, I don't want to say half a card, but maybe get some mid-card guys up there.
I could see a couple of matches happening. But you're right. It's a really awkward period to try and test this out. It's almost like the time like where you accidentally slip it in the back door, and then there's that awkward like, "Oops, I'm sorry" period.
Is it? Did you like it? I mean,
like I know it hurt.
Apologize for that.
But I want to keep going, and you're weeping. Just
sorry you passed out from the pain. LOL.
So gotta have the LOL. It's a safe word you have difficulty pronouncing around the ball gag. Why couldn't it be easy? Why couldn't it be toast? Why'd you have to pick onomatopoeia?
Anyway. No,
I onomatopoeia around a ball gag. It's hard as hell.
Well, toast seems to always come up in my bedroom talk, so that's why we don't use that as
our... Yeah, butter it like toast. Oh,
let's get the other boys up here and play some toast.
Okay, so
too far.
This is one wacky game show.
Well, Scott, Joe, Rob, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you see more matches in the future for YouTube pre-showing or previewing pay-per-views?
Yeah, I definitely see them adding more matches. I don't know how many though. But it all depends on the popularity of it. I mean, the Santino one didn't actually do too bad last month, so I can only imagine that the more popular it gets, the more the WWE will kind of push more matches onto their YouTube shows, and we might even see a point, not soon, mind you, but we might even see a point where they actually do have like YouTube events, which is like taped before Raw or something.
See, I think you're going to see at most two matches, but then if it's going to gain legs, if they really want to test the waters, put a real match on there. I mean, give us an Orton versus Sheamus, or I mean, not maybe that particular matchup, but give some bigger names where it's actually an interesting match and not a squash match.
But you can't do that before a pay-per-view, though. You're taking buys away from the pay-per-view. They just cannot do that kind of.
No, you can do a mid-card storyline. I mean, you can look at the tag team championships. I mean, is that really going to be a lot of pay-per-view buys there? I mean, for this pay-per-view.
No, but that's not a good match to test it on because nobody watches tag team matches anymore. I mean, give an actual Intercontinental title or a U.S. title, like a solid, built-up storyline, and have it conclude on YouTube.
Yeah, that was one thing, because we got an expected match, which is Cody Rhodes versus Santino, because, title versus title. Chad's actually suggesting title versus title on that, but who knows? But the question is, that would be something interesting to throw on YouTube because you got gold in there. I mean, it's not like Joe saying a squash match or like last week when Santino got squashed against Miz. It would be solid mid-card talent.
That was the other way around, was it not?
Well, I'm sorry, yes. Yeah, anyway, but no, the point is, I mean, you would have solid mid-card talent in the middle of a storyline with a title. That's kind of going all in. I mean, do you see WWE making that kind of decision, or do you think that there's no way they would put gold on something that wasn't a pay-per-view?
I don't think they're going to put a title match on YouTube.
Wasn't last month the Miz versus Santino for the U.S. title?
No, I thought it was a non-title match.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I thought it was for the title, but
it was.
Yeah, wasn't that the WrestleMania one?
No, that was Extreme Rules.
All right, so well, yeah. All right.
I personally wouldn't put any title matches on the YouTube. I would try to keep titles as important as possible and to throw them away on, a YouTube channel that will get a fraction of the views at the pay-per-views getting. I would keep it what they're doing with guys like Zack Ryder and Kane, who are, semi-over, semi-popular. I think that'll draw in enough people to keep it going. Enough interest.
Or put like a world title match on there, have it last 18 seconds, and then have a rematch later in the show. No, I'm serious. Like, use it to build. Like, that's where shit happens. You know, you do something like that where there's a match and the rematch is later on that in the actual pay-per-view. Then you're like, oh shit, I got to watch that now.
Yeah,
to find out what's going to happen.
That's a good idea, but how many months can they do that?
Yeah, well, you don't have to do it to where you don't have to do it to where there's a match. I mean, you could have it to where like for Ryder and Kane, someone runs in, takes out Kane, and so they book a match for the pay-per-view. It's like, well, what happened on the YouTube show? I could have watched that and then know what happened in relation to the match that's being booked now. So it doesn't have to be like an 18-second match, but it can be something happens on the YouTube show that affects what happens on the pay-per-view, which is a pretty good idea.
Holy crap, Matt Striker just beat Sheamus for the title?
Oh, I would love to watch that. All right, so the pay-per-view proper, I mean, other than that, I mean, really, it's the WWE Championship match, and then maybe the World Heavyweight 4-Way, but other than that, Cena versus Laurinaitis, well, I mean, all right, Divas Championship match, Layla versus Beth Phoenix. There's no way in hell Layla's dropping this title, right? I mean, Beth gets beat again.
I mean, the match only has to be 30 seconds. I mean, or else Layla can't continue past that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
She is so horribly bad.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, does she have the capability to do a 5-minute match?
Yeah, if she's standing on the ring apron and somebody else is working it.
So it's a tag match.
It's got to be a tag match.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think we might see Karma make an appearance here. That's if I wanted to keep the title on Layla.
That's wishful thinking.
Yeah, if I wanted to keep the title on Layla and not really hurt Beth Phoenix, I think the best way to do it would be to have Karma show up and just destroy both girls. But like Scott said, that's wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, and that's every time we do one of these pay-per-view pre-shows, even for TNA at this point, we're wondering, will Karma show up? So, look, it is the elephant in the room. It has to happen, right? She has to return. So, I mean, if not Over the Limit, then when?
She lost her opportunity to return when Garvin made her first pick in the WCW draft. She's gone. She ain't coming back.
Well, I mean,
that was still a good pick.
It'll get points for you sometime, buddy. It'll get points for you sometime. Well, Mike, what do you think? I mean, when do you think Karma will return? I mean, I know it's kind of a weird situation, but it has to happen at some point.
I'm sticking with what I said during the last pre-show special. I don't think Karma's going to come back. I think they're just going to quietly release her eventually. I don't think they're going to get their money back from her.
So just cut your loss?
I think I think if she was going to come back, we would have seen it by now.
That's fair. Chat's kind of agreeing with you. They're saying if she doesn't show up in this pay-per-view, they give up, which is pretty fair, to be honest. All right. WWE Tag Team. Oh, well, I guess we should do predictions for these. All right. Zack Ryder versus Kane. We already got our predictions down. Anybody want to change that? Who's picking what?
Guess not. No, we're good.
Okay. All right.
I'll go with Kane.
You go with Kane?
Yeah.
All right. Mike's going to take Kane.
Yeah.
For the women's, I'm going to go with Beth Phoenix.
Scott. And then Mike's taking
Layla.
Okay, and you're taking Layla, Scott? All right. You know what? I'm just gonna kick these to the end of the show. We'll go through the rest of the card. All right, WWE Tag Team Championship. I gotta be honest. I mean, I'm liking Kingston and R-Truth. They're kind of working together very well in the tag division. And but I mean, Ziggler and Swagger. Do they really need gold to kind of get over, or do you see this feud kind of building a little bit? And at what point do the Usos kind of get thrown into this?
You got the
Usos are still off for a little bit. I mean, my problem with this match is that if Ziggler and Swagger don't win, I don't know what you do with that, like that whole stable. The whole thing is they seem to be losing every other match under Vicky. So it used to be like a dominant stable, and now they can't get a win. So they almost need this win to remain credible.
So Garvin, do you think they're going to, if let's say Kofi and Truth win, do you think Diggles and Ziggles are going to split up? I mean,
well, the question is, would they split up from Vicky and sign with Washington?
Well, No, I don't think so. But I think the flip side on that is that if Kofi and Truth win, I think Epico and Primo, I think the O's are going to come back and try and win the title. They'll probably win the title, and then they'll probably go fight the Usos.
I think that there will be some kind of split. It'll either be, Dolph and Swagger split up, or they both split up from Vicky because she's obviously not, helping them in any way. So I think for sure if they lose tomorrow, there has to be some kind of change there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the one question was if they do split up. I mean, do you see either of them going to Washington or no? I mean, because look, he is in.
If anybody, it's going to be Swagger.
So you think it would be Swagger?
Yeah, he's very stale. Ziggler is a much better worker in the ring. I think Ziggler will be okay either on his own or keeping Vicky because he's been with Vicky for so long. I think Swagger's the thrown in junk and he needs to be reinvented.
Sure, but I think the one that would benefit the most from leaving Vicky would be Dolph. I think Swagger still needs a mouthpiece of some sort. It's just that Vicky hasn't been used in that role. I mean, she's just introing them and then on the outside, and you don't really see much of her anymore.
Yeah.
I think both guys have gotten a lot better on their mic work, especially Dolph. Jack, I was really impressed with his mic work when he was a world champion, but Dolph in the last year or so has really come along on the mic. I don't think either one of them need Vicky anymore, and if they could split them off of her without them turning face and have her, take someone a newer wrestler who isn't as experienced on the mic, I think that would be the best thing they could do with all three of them.
Oh yeah,
Vicky and Sandow? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Sandow's fine on the mic.
No, Mike's absolutely right. I mean, Dolph Ziggler, over the past year, I mean, the guy is the heir apparent to the Mr. Perfect throne. I mean, the guy is just coming off so much better on the mic, especially I'd say the past 8 months or so. So yeah, if he can get away from that.
Did you hear that?
What?
That's Michael McGillicuddy coming to kick your ass for saying that.
Yeah.
You know what? He has been. I miss him because we need to make we've stopped doing the Michael McGillicuddy thing because he's kind of been off camera. So, yeah, I mean, I think getting Dolph out of there and moving him someplace else would be a good idea. At least to get back to where he was before. We was doing solid mid card, upper card feuds. Chat's saying my issue with this match is that it's unreal. Kingston Truth can stay in the match. Ziggler and Swagger needs to be split and be raised. Also Ziggles and Swiggles, Jesus. So Joe, you got a winner with that one. All right. So I mean, do you see this match other than the discussion around it? Do you see the match actually producing it being exciting in some capacity?
It's got potential.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. I think all four guys are decent enough workers. They'll put on a good match.
Okay, because I got to say the two people I'm looking forward to seeing in here the most is Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston. I mean, those two, as far as ring work, are probably the more exciting out of the four.
Yeah, they had good matches a few years ago when they're feuding over the Intercontinental and U.S. title.
Yeah,
they have good chemistry in the ring.
All right, cool. Scott, Rob, what do you think?
I think this match has potential. I'm not sure it's going to be that exciting. I'm kind of with you, Harrison. I'm looking forward to seeing Kingston and Ziggler. R-Truth and Swagger I could really do without. So that's kind of where I am. It should be a decent match. I don't have high expectations for it though.
All right, Scott.
I'm always excited to see Little Jimmy. Little Jimmy warms my heart. No, I agree with pretty much a lot of the sentiments said, but so far, I mean, R-Truth is a damn good worker too. Just he's not very good in singles, unfortunately, anymore. But I think you get a hot tag to him, and he can definitely work a crowd. So I'm happy to see R-Truth as well. But this match definitely has a lot of potential to be a fantastic tag match. So I agree with you guys.
Yeah, Chad's saying that we got four solid workers in this match. Yeah, it won't be mediocre is the point. All right, so Cody Rhodes versus Santino, non-title, is what's expected. Live chat's actually suggesting title versus title. I don't know. I mean, I can't see that happening, but I do like the idea of Cody Rhodes coming out on Raw with 2 pieces of gold like Miz used to do.
I hope to God they don't do a unadvertised title versus title match.
Yeah, that would be just disastrous. I mean, that would pretty much completely tell your WWE audience, yeah, we really don't care about these titles, so we're going to combine them unadvertised. Here you go. It's just that would be so stupid of WWE to do.
Okay.
Even if they just had a confrontation where they challenged each other to a match tomorrow on Raw, I'd be happy with that. But at least give it a little bit of hype that they're gonna merge the titles into one.
Kick in the teeth is what the chat's saying.
Hell, even the Diva and Women's title got pay-per-view hype for it.
I was gonna say, man, if you're gonna do it just as a brief little intro thing, no way. This is like month-long build-up proportions. Yeah. If you're merging fucking titles.
I won't say merging titles. Just have Cody hold 2 pieces of gold.
Yeah, but without the brands, why have the 2 titles?
No, I mean, well, you've had Raw Super shows for the past...
That's a different discussion.
4 or 5 weeks. Yeah, Mike's right. I mean, we could go on for hours about that. But, I mean,
nobody wants to listen to us for more than about an hour. That's
So the idea of doing, I mean, not merging the titles, but Cody or Santino walking out on Raw with both the IC and the US. I mean, yeah, it would be terrible because no hype on that. But would it really be that much of a disaster as far as what they can build with that?
Yeah, there's no advertisement.
I mean, these are 2 titles that the WWE has already pretty much cheapened about as much as they can. I'm completely with Scott here. If you have an unadvertised title versus title match and either merge the titles into one title or give one guy 2 belts unadvertised, you're destroying what little credibility the titles have.
And especially with the news that Raw's going to start to go to 3 hours in July, they're going to really need that US or IC title to help build the show. I mean, they could potentially build a show around one of those titles if they just spent a little bit of time building it up. And I think they need to put a little bit of worth into those titles before those 3-hour Raws start to try to draw people in. Yeah.
And I completely agree with that. It's definitely not something that we should see at Over the Limit, but I could see something like that happen at No Way Out.
Oh.
No, at No Way Out, because, after that, it's Money in the Bank. So you could free up someone, either Rhodes or Santino, to get the Money in the Bank type push. So I think it's a definite possibility with how they've been trying to build it, but there's just not enough steam in it yet.
Yeah, I like that idea, Garv, because if you did merge, I don't want to say merge titles, just 2 belts and not one person, although someone in the chat said if Santino walked out with 2 belts, it would be a disaster and a real dick move. I don't know about it. I think Santino would be great, but...
What about changing the... I mean, let's pull a TNA move here. Convert the U.S. title to a TV title and have it defended every weekend.
No, that's not going to happen because TNA isn't even doing that.
Yeah, they are.
Nope, they didn't defend the TV title this week.
No. But Devon was involved in that match.
Okay, yeah, he was, but the title wasn't defended.
But that's a different discussion. We're on WWE today.
All right, anyway. But the point is, Garvin's onto something here, because if you take the 2 belts, throw them on one guy, Money in the Bank happens. That briefcase is basically a proxy belt. You can build a storyline, exact same championship storyline, with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which will help fill out those 3 hours. I mean, they could have it to where the briefcase is put on the line for a match or something like that. I mean, you can do a lot with once you have that briefcase. But yeah, until that point, I think this would be too early to do, because 1, you wouldn't have the hype, and 2, like Mike said, you got a 3-hour Raw coming out. You're basically going to have 3 belts that you got to spread out across that, because we know that Divas Championship and a Tag Championship aren't going to have the hype. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, we got both belts on one guy. Money in the Bank kind of becomes a proxy where you can kind of kick it around like it is a championship belt.
Oh, I definitely agree with that, and assuming that they would actually give this storyline between Santino and Cody Rhodes about another month to build up, that'd be fantastic. I totally agree with that. I'm not against the idea of putting both belts on one person. I'm just against the idea of them having the match with minimal to no build and basically going, all right, here we go, title versus title. We really don't care who wins. We know you won't either. We're going to move on right after this.
Okay. Chat's Lord Tensai holding both belts, and then someone else said, "Go God, no." But it is interesting to note, Tensai is not on this.
Please
card.
Boot that person from the chat.
Security. Security,
All right.
come up with this man, please.
Ryback and Brodus Clay probably going to have matches, run-of-the-mill stuff. Although Brodus Clay lately has been actually having real matches, not just squash matches. So it'll be interesting to see if it turns out that way. Well, here we are. John Cena versus John Laurinaitis. Battle of the Johns. Laurinaitis loses. He'll be fired. No superstar diva is allowed at ringside. If any superstar diva interferes, he or she will be fired. This is it. This is the one where everyone has basically been kicking out their own version of how this match could be good, because on paper it isn't. Let's be honest. On paper, this match is going to be shit. They got to throw a swerve in there.
The swing vote here is Big Show. Big Show's been fired. He's no longer a superstar. Now, which side is he going to go with? If he sides with Johnny Laurinaitis, he'll probably get his job back. If he doesn't and help Cena out to get rid of Johnny Laurinaitis, you'll probably see Teddy Long come back in the GM role, because who else do they have? And then he will reinstate Big Show.
The only problem with that theory is that Eve is his direct. I fail to know the word, but she would be the next in line to basically take that role. Yeah,
no,
okay.
Executive assistant. She's doing awesome in that role. I'm loving her in that. Much better.
So
much better
I can't. Yeah, agreed. I cannot imagine them basically handing Teddy Long back the reins when they do have her as like the next step down for that sort of position. I do believe Big Show will be a factor in this match, because, I mean, they spent entirely way too much time basically building this as a possibility.
Yeah, that show fired segment was about 17, 18 minutes, I think.
That was a half hour. It was way too damn long. It
was just not the match, yeah.
It felt like a half hour.
Plus anyway. The replay on SmackDown of it.
SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
See, at least that was abridged.
Okay, Mike, go on.
I thought they were building towards a Big Show versus Laurinaitis. I didn't know Laurinaitis was facing Cena. Oops.
Well, they mentioned it at the end of Raw.
Yeah, brief mention, yeah. But...
Oh, by the way, I'm looking forward to our match on Sunday. Match, and then close WWE logo. What the hell?
Wait, what?
Wait, is 60? All right, I guess that's $60. All right, I'll buy it. So yeah, I mean that is this. Okay, so here it is: John Cena versus John Laurinaitis. Mike, Big Show is, like Joe said, the swerve. He's got to be involved somehow. How do you see it going through? And then I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, it could really go either way. I don't think they know what they're gonna do right now. I think it'll be a game time decision on WWE's part if they have Big Show knock out Laurinaitis or Cena. One way or the other. You can flip a coin.
Okay, but at the end of the day, the end of tomorrow, going into Raw, there's no way in hell Laurinaitis is not going to be the Raw GM.
With what happened on SmackDown last night, it kind of seemed like his final hurrah as a heel. I think he might be going away. I think Cena is going to go over Laurinaitis.
Okay. What do you think, Scott, Joe, Rob?
Well, I picked Cena to win the match, and I'm basically basing that prediction on Big Show getting involved since he can't be fired, and taking a good shot at Laurinaitis because he's got nothing to lose. Maybe he gets his job back if Teddy Long or somebody comes in after Laurinaitis, or Triple H gives him his job back. If he doesn't get his job back, then he still has the satisfaction of knocking Laurinaitis the fuck out. So,
okay.
I'm going to be hoping for Big Show to knock Laurinaitis out.
There's a really good point that Rob just brought up. I mean, you think about, we really haven't talked about what Triple H's influence could be on this. I mean, if Big Show does in fact come in and interfere and actually knock Johnny Ace out, I mean, there's a potential that, Triple H could have been the one to motivate that, give him his job back if he does it. Because, Triple H has got to be sick and tired of Johnny Ace by now. He's like the employee that has diplomatic immunity. You can't stand him. He's cursing at everybody. You just want to get rid of him, but you can't.
Your boss's son.
Well, exactly. And this could be that way to get him the hell out.
There's also the third factor is that Big Show could attack attack Cena. Johnny Laurinaitis is like, sweet, oh, you're on my side, and then he lays out Laurinaitis and leaves them both. Then somebody else comes out and drags maybe Miz or Christian, because we haven't seen Christian in ages. Maybe Christian comes out and drags Laurinaitis over,
and hopefully Christian wins a match to give me 3.5 points in the FTW draft.
No. But
I'm the only one going for that.
Yeah, along the lines of Miz coming back, Chad actually suggested that. Said going with the Miz to help Johnny Ace win, but he still gets fired the next night, and that frees him up for filming the Marine 3, which could be a possibility. The other issue that they have
is that Triple H is turning into Cowboy Bob Orton.
Here's the thing. Chad also brought it up. The issue they have with the theory of why would Big Show help Johnny Ace which basically is this. If they help Cena, Ace would be fired and he could still get his job back anyway. So going into this, Big Show has motivation to take out both Johns, either one. He still wins. He still could possibly get his job back. He takes out John Laurinaitis. Triple H is happy, gives him his job back. He takes out John Cena. John Laurinaitis is happy, gives him his job back. So going into it, if Big Show is a factor, it could really go either way. It's just, as written, this match is going to be terrible, so the swerve has to come. But we're going to be discussing that more in a little bit. Four-way match for the World Heavyweight Championship. They found something to do with Chris Jericho, so here we are. Sheamus, Chris Jericho, ADR, and Randy Orton. The thing I love about this match is it is very, very old school how they did it. It's been nothing but matches between the four of these in different combinations for the past couple weeks leading into this four-way. I miss that. I miss the tag matches going in. That's very cool. No segments, no video packages, nothing like that. Just very old school, straight up matches going up to the World Heavyweight Championship. You guys looking forward to it?
This is probably going to be the best match of the night. I mean, it's going to be one of those matches where it's really hard to call for the most part, but they got four of the best guys to put into a predicament like this. I mean, you got Jericho, who's been kind of languishing a little bit. He needs a little something. I mean, even if he doesn't win this, he could still do a strong performance to kind of bring him back up to par since, he kind of got doused a bit by CM Punk. You got ADR, who is kind of going through the same thing. He's been kind of languishing a bit since his return. So, I mean, this is the potential of bringing kind of ADR back in the spotlight, at least for points. And then, of course, you got Orton, who really should be doused in this match. In fact, actually, he needs to stop doing those spray-on tans. He's getting too orange for me, personally. And then Sheamus, who actually should be borrowing some of that spray-on tan from Orton. But I mean, this four of the best guys. No, they got four of the best guys for this kind of match, and it's going to be really exciting to see.
Yeah, even though Randy Orton is in this match, this should be a great match, and it's one of the matches I'm looking forward to.
See, Rob, I understand what you're saying. Trust me. I mean, I'm sick of seeing...
Yeah, he said the word match 3 times in one sentence.
I mean, I'm sick of seeing Randy in the top 2, but you got to admit, he can work a match.
Oh, it's going to be a spot fest. You got the bro kick, you got the walls of Jericho, you got the arm bar. I mean, you got and then the RKO. I mean, this seriously is going to be a spot fest near the end. I mean, it's going to be.
Yeah, but I would love to see a Jericho ADR armbar versus armbar match.
And the armbar. I missed that. That segment was so great. Chat's saying Orton wins this match, feuds with Sheamus, and turns heel. And basically, the counter to that is if it is Orton versus Sheamus, it's just who wins the title. I mean, that's the stipulation the chat's coming up with, is that it's Orton all the way, Sheamus is going to chase, and that's going to be Orton turning heel. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think your two top contenders are going to be Sheamus and Jericho. I think Jericho, if they're going to do anything with Jericho, they have to do it now, or it's a horrible reason just to bring him back. It's very, very bad. But I think, they want to keep the title on Sheamus. They want to make Sheamus that possibly next big guy.
No, I agree with you, Joe. I mean, they got to give Jericho the belt, or him coming back is going to be like when Michael Jordan played baseball. It's going to be like, oh, wow, we remember when you were really awesome at sports, and now you're doing this. So I mean, it's just, I don't know. They got to do it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Orton. I'm with the chat, man. I'm going Orton all the way. Betting on Orange.
Yeah, and if you look at
I see what you did there. Haha, beat Scott to it.
Damn it!
If you look at what WWE.com has been putting out over the last, I'd say 2 weeks, they've been putting out nothing but stories about how Jericho doesn't have it anymore and he's going to be leaving, he might be retiring, and how important this match is to decide, whether or not that's going to be the case. So I think Jericho's going to be playing a huge part in it. I don't know if that means he's going to win, but yeah, they have to. If Jericho loses this match, I don't really see how they can move his storyline any further.
I mean, they basically swept CM Punk under the rug at this point. The whole Jericho CM Punk storyline's been a non-star. I mean, they like the thing when I realized something weird is happening for me with Jericho, and that is usually when a storyline resolves the way that CM Punk and Jericho did, there is that closure on Raw. They did not do that. After that match at Extreme Rules, there was no more discussion about it. It wasn't even, hey, this was awesome when CM Punk, fresh off his win over Jericho, didn't even mention it at all on that Raw or SmackDown. So I think it's weird that they would do that kind of thing. And I don't know. I'm going to say what I said on Tuesday. I think this is just a stall. I think this match is a stall for something better that they're building for SummerSlam.
Well, I think one of the main reasons why they didn't even mention the CM Punk Jericho feud right after the match was because of the fact that they didn't want to water down Chris Jericho too much. I mean, it's already bad enough that he basically jobbed for 2 straight pay-per-views. So I think they wanted him to still be a reliable contender for the title going into this pay-per-view. And the best way to do it is just be like, you know what? It happened. We're going to move on. Because otherwise, I mean, if they would have started discussing this, he wouldn't even have the opportunity to go into that, would it beat the clock challenge, I think it was. And ultimately, he would have just been docile at that point, gone. And I really think that they actually kind of did it the smart way by just saying, you know what, it happened, let's move on.
And I think it was such strong, decisive wins that they didn't really need to say much more about it.
But then what's the point of this? Well, then we're just going to go back and forth on what's the point of the storyline. Unfortunately, the chat's saying my money's on Jericho. There's a story to be told between Jericho and Punk, and I think they're going to tell it despite the misfire the first time they tried. I really hope not. I mean, really, Jericho versus Punk again? Does anybody want to see that?
Yes.
No.
Garvin,
if the storyline is done properly, yes. But I mean, if they start going back to this whole questioning straight edge crap, no, I really don't care.
I think the entire questioning straight edge shit is what ruined that storyline. They could have had matches.
Agreed.
They could have matches just about all year long if it was done well. If it's really a competition between the two. To bring in all the alcohol, straight edge bullshit. No.
Sisters and alcohol.
Save that for when CM Punk's a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you bring back Katie Vick. It's just something, if you're going to get that horribly wrong and annoying, just bring it all out. Then you bring out Big Show's daddy again.
All right. So that's the 4-way championship, and then here it is, the WWE Championship match, CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. I disagree. I think this is going to be the match of the night. It's had no hype.
Agree.
It's barely been mentioned, but here we are. Yeah, I mean, who else besides me is looking forward to it? Mike, you think it's going to be match of the night?
Yeah, really, this is, up until SmackDown when they gave good hype to the world title match, this is the only match on the card.
Yeah.
I have almost no interest in this pay-per-view outside of this match. I am really looking forward to it. I think they'll approach that 5-star level, I think.
Okay. Anybody else?
It's going to be a great match. I'm not sure if it'll be match of the night, but I'm looking forward to a great match from CM Punk and Daniel Bryan.
I'm looking forward to a great series of matches from these guys.
Ooh, I like that idea.
I see what you did there. But no, I mean, I agree. I mean, like, there's a lot of great. Oh God, let me try that again. I'm sorry. There's a lot that could be done in this match that'll make it match of the night, but I don't think WWE will give them enough time to do it. I think they really haven't given this match enough of a push as they should have. I mean, on paper, for IWC and all wrestling fans, this match has just written all over it. But I really don't think that WWE will give this match enough time to be win. I think they'll do it enough to actually give it the climax. Whoever wins, and then they'll move on from that. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll actually go on a few storylines with these guys, and that's sad. It really is.
Okay, Garth.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this match because, like we said on episode 114, this match sold the pay-per-view. It sells itself. You don't really need a whole lot of build-up. Now, should they have done more? Yeah, probably. But, what they have done with it, I think it's still been entertaining and still has given me, interest in the match. One thing to note about this is that if you listen to Daniel Bryan's his segment, he made mention that of all of their feuds in the independents, he used independent as an actual term, which is something that we haven't really heard a whole lot. So I don't know. This match sells itself. I don't think you need a whole lot of build up to do that, and it should be the match of the night.
Okay. Do you see Does anybody see it closing the pay-per-view, or do you think that's going to be Cena versus Laurinaitis?
I think it'll be Cena versus Laurinaitis.
Yeah, Cena versus Laurinaitis is going to be the.
Yeah, that's the big thing that they're pushing. Although I think the World Heavyweight Championship should be.
Right.
And Harrison, you need to mute yourself when you type.
Well, I'm talking with Garvin.
I know, but it's louder than your voice.
Okay. And this discussion that we're having, is it louder than me typing? It's definitely taking up more time.
No, it's not louder than you typing.
Personally... Hold up. Let me just say real quick, and then you can have the floor again.
No, just take it back out. Go on, Scott.
Well, no, what I was going to say is that as much as I would love to see the actual world title match be the main event, I think they're going to open with that match. I don't think they're going to close with it, because that match would be the best to kind of rev up the crowd and keep them going for the later on. I don't think they're going to put that anywhere near the end.
Disagree! Tag Team Championship is going to open tonight.
Okay. I think you're wrong, and you're a cock.
Kofi jumping around like he does. Dolph Ziggler selling those moves. Yeah, that's gonna be they're gonna open with that because it's been a kind of a thing. You open with gold now in WWE on a pay-per-view, and I don't know. I think the 4-way match with
correction. They opened with world title gold.
They did that at WrestleMania. They did not do it at Extreme Rules.
For the most pay-per-views like throughout the year and last year, though, I mean, they've always opened up with world title matches. I mean, hell, even in WrestleMania last year, they opened up with frickin' world
So it's
title.
a WrestleMania trend.
There you go.
So wait,
I
thought the first match was going to be the Divas Championship, right, Rob?
Yes. Yes, and I'm sticking by that, damn it.
Yeah, you're going to flop on that one, sir.
Oh, I know. But
they're going to need to cool down the crowd after that epic Zack Ryder Kane match.
Yep.
Cole's going to recap.
Yeah, I mean, so that makes at least the pre-show and the opening, the bathroom break. It's going to be a lot of leaky bladders by the end of this thing.
All right. So here it is. Predictions for the show. Karma, Christian, Big Show, Nash, and Miz. Do we see any of these guys at the pay-per-view at any point?
If we don't see Karma, I say watch WWE.com and wait for the Future Endeavor announcement.
Ooh. What about anybody else? I mean, is there anybody on this list of 5 that show up?
Karma, no. Kevin Nash, no.
I would say Kevin Nash is the only one I don't think has a possibility of showing.
So you think Christian, Show, and Miz could happen?
I'm thinking either of them could happen.
Okay. What about you, Scott? Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Go on.
It would be a really good way to reintroduce Christian back into the storylines to bring him out for something. Bring him back on the pay-per-view. Have him even just cut a promo supporting Johnny Ace or something. I think would be a good way to bring him back.
All right. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely do not think Karma is going to show up, and I sure as hell don't think Kevin Nash will show up. I think that ship has sailed, man. And if WWE is smart, they'll keep that ship going away. Yeah, I could see Christian coming back. I think it all kind of boils down to Big Show, though. They've spent way too much time, and I literally mean way too much time hyping this Big Show thing. So, and it's basically like showing the swerve in a windowed mode. It's totally visible.
I love the fact that for the best thing to come out of this Big Show feud was the comic strip recently on botchspot.com.
Yes, that was great.
Where Big Show is applying filling or responding to an ad for a 40-year-old freak.
40-year-old 7 foot tall, 500-pound freak or whatever.
Yeah. And they're like, nope, sorry, we can't hire you. He's like, but what? He's like, you're a crybaby.
Oh, no, he's like, I'm so happy I got a job now. And he's crying. He's like, nope, you're fired. No, sorry, no crybabies. Chat saying Nash, no. Big Show, yes. Miz possibly gets an extra match. I don't know about that. I believe it's Miz versus Brodus Clay. That'd be interesting. Christian should be, but where? That's the problem. Where do you stick Christian? Could throw him in the World Heavyweight Championship match and then, put some heat on SmackDown.
One more chance. One more chance.
Come on, peeps. Let's do this. Yeah, Christian runs in on the YouTube pre-show. Christian and Kane go at it on the YouTube pre-show. All right. So, predictions. Who's taking what? We did the Divas Championship and the YouTube pre-show. Tag Team Championship. Who's taking what? And is anybody changing their votes?
I'll go with Kofi and R-Truth.
All right.
Yeah.
Taking Scott? Okay.
Same thing.
Okay. We'll leave the Cody Rhodes and Ryback and everything. So we got WWE Tag Team Championship. That's everybody for Kofi and R-Truth. Divas Championship. That's everybody except for Mike, who's taking Beth Phoenix. And the YouTube pre-show, everybody's taking Kane. John Cena versus John Laurinaitis. Rob's the only one saying Cena, like you said earlier. What do you guys think? John or John?
I'll take John.
I'll take John.
Okay, good. All right, we're putting down for John.
Add me for John, too.
Okay, Ace or Cena?
I'm actually going to go with Cena.
Okay,
yeah, as will I.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that this will be the last of Laurinaitis, even if Cena wins. I think they'll find a way. They always find a way.
Now, did they say he'll be fired, or he just won't be the GM anymore?
No,
Fired.
they said terminated.
Fired.
Quote for quote, it's terminated.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's fired.
Yeah, fired from being Raw GM, so he's still talent management relations or some,
Vice
John
President.
Laurinaitis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Executive Vice President of Talent Relations.
World Heavyweight Championship, who's taking who? ADR, Orton, Jericho, Sheamus?
ADR.
Right.
Do I honestly think he'll win? Hell no, but I just want the damn points.
That's the spirit, man. I'm taking Orton for that reason alone. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm still going with Jericho. I think Jericho would be a good move because it still frees up Sheamus and Orton, which is the feud that they're trying to build.
Yeah.
And it gets a title off them, then they're both chasing it, which I think is a nice touch.
Okay. Yeah, you're with Joe on that one. Mike, where are you?
I'm gonna take a page out of the WWE playbook here. I'm gonna take Chris Jericho. I think with him leaving, they're gonna surprise everyone by putting the title on him. Maybe do a rematch with him and Sheamus next month, and then lead to Sheamus and Orton at SummerSlam.
Okay. And bon voyage, have fun touring with Fozzy. I'm sorry, have fun, quote-unquote, touring with Fozzy. Looking forward to seeing you at a Nashville bar. WWE Championship match, CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. Me and Rob got Punk. Garvin and Joe got Bryan. What do you guys think, Scott? Punk? You taking Punk? What about you, Mike?
I'm going to go with Punk as well.
Okay. Leaving Garvin and Joe in the cold. Okay, so last topic, former WWE writer Seth Mates posted this idea on Twitter. We shared it on a Facebook page, but it's somewhat worth discussing. Here is his swerve for Over the Limit. Try this on for size. 1, Cena versus Ace. Brock Lesnar runs in. Triple H chases him off. Okay. Show runs in, attacks Johnny Ace, hoping that once he's out, he'll be hired back. Maybe it's a choke slam with such force. Anyway, Ace is knocked to the outside. Show leaves through the crowd. Cena slowly pulls Ace into the ring. Here comes your swerve. Punk runs down. Punk screws Cena over and helps Ace win. Now the conundrum. You can't fire your WWE champ. Can you? Is there something in the contract from last summer that prevents it? Maybe Punk, Ace, Brock, and Heyman form a faction based off of the Heyman guy comments from last year. Perhaps they hold the title hostage. My only issue with this, Punk is a face. And this is a weird way right now.
I never thought about the Brock or Heyman angle in there. Why did I not think about that?
I don't know. You weren't a former WWE writer. So, I mean, kicking it to the crowd, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think, Brock, Heyman, and Triple H got to be involved in the story in this pay-per-view in some capacity? Personally, I think this is terrible. I think this is a terrible idea. Heyman storyline, Heyman stable off a Heyman guy thing. I mean, Punk is on fire right now. You don't slow that down by having him team up with Heyman. That's not going to build him up. That's going to tear him down. It's going to take away any momentum he has.
Since TNA is known for their overbooked crap, they should really hire Seth Mates and Just stick him solely with Jeff Jarrett matches. This is just such a terrible idea for even an off-brand pay-per-view.
Scott,
I don't agree with this, mainly because of the fact that, like you stated, I mean, to turn Punk heel at this point in time just would not be a good idea. I mean, he still draws a crowd, and I don't think, honestly, in all of Punk's runs as a heel, he always comes off as awkward. He really isn't that good of a heel. And, like, he can spout from the mouth, but not in a PG era. You put him in a TNA type of role, and as a heel, he would go no problem. But as a face, he's so much better for the PG audience, and I don't think that putting him with Heyman is really going to help him at all. At that point, it gives Heyman more legs, but you're just killing a guy for Heyman at that point, and that's not good.
Yeah, Scott's exactly right. Punk is basically like the anti-Orton. He's like he's awesome on the mic, and he's much better as a face. And it's hard.
And he's good in the ring.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it's difficult, like Scott said. I mean, Punk he does the clobbering time at the beginning of the thing. He does a Macho Man reference every match. He points to the sky and does an homage. Why would you, like the chat's saying, it's a TNA finish. It really is. It's totally overthought. And like Mike said, it's entirely too complicated. Chad's saying it sounds good, but it would essentially be a clusterfuck if WWE produced it. And it sounds like a Russo peyote dream. Bam! There it is. This is a Vince Russo finish.
Yeah, completely agreed. It has Russo written all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And what you do is you don't turn Punk when he's at the height of his popularity either. I mean, if anything, you put Cena in that role, someone whose best days as a face are behind him.
Yeah.
But you don't do this on an off-brand pay-per-view that 4 people are going to order.
Especially given this card.
Yeah.
He says, and this is where it really gets me. He says, just an idea. It's getting crowded at the top for babies. Cena, Triple H, Sheamus, but Punk is a baby face. I don't get it. You can use Punk, Ace, and Heyman, Brock backstory to freshen things up. Maybe do Punk versus Show and Triple H versus Brock in June, or Punk and Brock versus Cena and Triple H. Can you imagine that? CM Punk and Brock Lesnar in a tag match against Cena and Triple H. The only 2 guys in that match who'd be able to do an entire match is Punk and Cena. Brock would kill somebody, and Triple H would end up falling up. You know what? Brock would literally break Triple H in half. It would be a botch spot, and Triple H couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I hear Kevin just fuming right now. Somewhere in this world, he's going to kill you.
I'm sorry. Well, if Kevin wants to, he's more than welcome to come back on the show and yell at me all he wants. Chad saying Cena turns heel and lets Johnny win. That would be interesting. If you turn Punk like this, it's the equivalent to lesser extent like Austin's turn, which, by the way, Austin hated. I don't know about that. I think when Austin turned heel with Bret Hart, they weren't really at the height of their popularity at that time. Austin was kind of fading at that point. He was kind of in, like Mike was saying, he's kind of in Cena's shoes right now.
What about when?
No, I think you're talking about
thinking of
Austin and Rock.
Oh, he's thinking of that one. Oh,
the Austin Triple H 2-man power trip time.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Right around the invasion angle.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was really bad.
Yeah,
I think that was just terrible because they did it in Austin's hometown pretty much.
No, it was just bad.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Austin was getting such a monster face pop there. He could have done anything, and they would have cheered him. I think they needed to be in like some kind of neutral city where they would actually boo him for teaming with McMahon. But that's a whole other issue. That's a whole other story.
Well, no, my problem with that was it just made no sense. Why would Austin turn and go WCW? I mean, it was like one of those weird. It's exactly like this. It's like, wait, why would Punk team with Heyman? He has no gain to it at all. I mean, if anything, Punk and Bryan are more likely to team up than Punk and Heyman, and they're in the goddamn match together.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, all right. So, all in all, looking at the card as a whole, obviously we have our reservations. I mean, is there any, other than Punk and Bryan, is there anything you guys are really looking forward to on the match? On the card? Match of the night?
The world title match is definitely going to be something to look forward to. Unfortunately, I think a little bit of a skip over on that with people, but I think it's going to be awesome, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've really sold me on the world title match in the last week. I think they've done a really good job of that. I was not looking forward to it when it was Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, but now that they've added the depth, Jericho and Orton, I think it'll be a good match.
All right, Rob.
Yeah, world title match and the WWE title match. Those are really the only two matches I'm interested in.
Oh, and the Divas Championship that's going to open the show.
I said it was going to open the show. I didn't say I was interested in that match.
I'm just saying, it'll be great. Chat's behind
the fact that you can't stop talking about it. Jeez.
I know, right? God.
I mean,
man,
it's only second to Zack Ryder Kane.
So technically, yeah, it isn't really opening the show. It's just we got to cool the crowd down after the YouTube pre-show. Chat's behind the Fatal 4-Way. I don't know. Okay, Chat brought up a pretty good point. The funny thing about these pay-per-views are the ones that look terrible seem to stand out as actually being half decent, which I don't know. I think with that's more of confirmation bias. We tend to remember the hits and forget the misses. So I think we're more inclined to believe a pay-per-view that surprised us, as opposed to, like, I'm trying to remember the first Elimination Chamber I thought was going to be awful because I thought the Elimination Chamber thing was so gimmicky, but it actually turned out to be pretty good. And I remember that only because I thought it was going to be terrible. Doesn't mean that every Elimination Chamber afterwards has been awesome or terrible. It's just, I think what do you guys think? Do you think this could be, hey, who knew, Monday or Tuesday we're going to be saying that pay-per-view was awesome?
I think I think you're onto something, Harrison. I think, the problem is when we look at a pay-per-view like this and the bar is set so low, it's very easy then to impress because the standard is so low. You've got such an easy target to hit. It's easy to say, well, this was actually better than I thought it would be.
All right, I gotta be honest. You guys kind of sound like a bunch of ladies that got your menstrual cycle all lined up. Honestly, on paper, I think this pay-per-view is fine. I just think that the only problem with it is that it really didn't get a proper build with a lot of these storylines. The Fatal 4-Way got a pretty decent build. It could have been a little better. The CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan, I don't agree that it just sells itself. I mean, the IWC maybe, but I think that they should have put a little more legs on it, and that's one of the big problems there. Because now, I mean, after the match, how do you continue it without some crazy ass finish? I think really the only match on this card, even despite the Divas match, the only match on this card that kind of makes you go, really, is the Cena versus Laurinaitis. And I think WWE actually has a plan for that. We just need to actually see what they're going to do with it.
Oh, yeah, no one's doubting that they have a plan. It's just the match.
You probably like the ending of Mass Effect 3.
Fuck you, I hated that. I tolerated it, but I hated it.
Yeah, Mike, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, no one is doubting that there's going to be some kind of repercussions from the match, but the match itself is going to be terrible, and I don't think anyone wants to see it. People just want to fast forward to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a glorified segment with a bell at each end.
And you're right. There was terrible build up to this pay-per-view all around, and with us not looking forward, is that our fault for not liking it or WWE's fault for not hyping it?
Okay.
Oh no, I agree. It's WWE.
Chat brings up a really good point. Chat's saying, let's be honest, if they were selling Punk versus Bryan as a standalone match for $60, wouldn't we buy it? Not everyone, we. And yeah, I mean, we would. With this, we at least get 4 other matches, 3 of which have a chance of being pretty good, which is true. I mean, we can look at it as like, yeah, I mean, dinner sucked, but at leunder we got dessert. Okay, so Joe, what do you got? You got a question you want to
I got one question. Guys, what do you think the over-under is on Ryback versus Brodus Clay? Who are they going to? Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
I was actually thinking that too. Not that it'll happen on this match, but it's definitely a match I want to see at some point.
Oh God.
That ring is going to implode if you put 2 guys with squash finishes at the end. How do you squash each other? I mean, how does that work?
3-way match with Tensai.
Oh, yeah. Give me some points. Bring in Tensai.
We're going to read on the news that the freaking stadium exploded.
It'd be like dividing by 0. No, I think what would happen is the 3 of them would just run at each other and just collide heads and knock backwards. And then it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the end of the match. So we're all like, well, 1, it was a squash match, and 2, none of them got the win, so I guess we got half of what we were expecting.
Either that, or they'll all run into each other, get stuck, and that's when the Stargate opens.
They become the new Rat King. There's a six-legged, six-armed thing coming at us.
But no,
it'll become a big fat human centipede.
Oh God! In all seriousness, though, I think that if they did have a match like that, it would end in some kind of no contest. There's no way that they're going to end this little winning streak that they have on either of those guys at this point in time.
All right, Ryback versus Vicky Guerrero.
Oh, right.
Anyway. No, you have Vicky win. You can't take the heat off her. Mike, you were saying?
I forgot the point.
All right.
That was so long ago.
That's all right. All right. So, plug time. Scott, if the crowd that's listening today or in the immediate future wants to get a hold of you, where do they go?
Well, I'll give you 2 links, actually. My Minecraft podcast, which is called LIMP, or Lethal Injection Minecraft Podcast. You can find that at www.lethalinjectionpodcast.com. I also do a Steam podcast these days, and that can be found at www.latenightsteamer.com.
So if you have any questions about steaming or steaming vegetables, steaming chicken or anything like that, that's a podcast to listen to.
Or about being really mad.
Yeah, I'm getting really mad.
Oh, we have some raging. We have some raging.
No, I'm just saying the applications of steam throughout history, steam locomotives, steam engines, steam generators. Cool. All right, Mike, if people want to get a hold of you, where do they go?
What's that?
If people want to get a hold of you, where do they go?
Oh, you can check out my SmackDown reviews every week at pwtorch.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MJQPack. I'll be tweeting tomorrow during the pay-per-view live. I tweet every Monday during Raw. Or you can find me playing Diablo 3 between the hours of 4:30 p.m. and 11 p.m.
If the server's still up. All right, so that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to support the show, go on to our website and buy a t-shirt. Thank you everyone in the live chat. You were awesome as always. For more about us, you can head to ftwpodcast.com. You can also find us on facebook.com/ftwpodcast, twitter.com/ftwpodcast, youtube.com/FTW Podcast. Let your voices be heard by leaving us a voicemail at 313-444-FTW4. That's 313-444-3894. Don't call us to bail you out. We're not going to do it. And you can also email your questions to questions@ftwpodcast.com. Thank you, everyone in the live chat. Seriously, you guys are the best. We record every FTW podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. at ftw.com. ftwlive.com, except for select Saturdays when we do this. And we will see you guys next Tuesday. Later, player.
Bye, fellas.
Holla, holla.
Holla if you hear me.